Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner, and my guest is Mo Bunnell, the author of a wonderful new book, Grow to Give, or Give
Give
to
to
Grow.
grow. Yeah, give to grow. There we go.
You have had such a phenomenal reception. You had an event in Atlanta. Tell us
Yeah.
about how the book was received.
Yeah, well, Gerhard, it's been a top 10 business book since launch, which is exciting. And we build off the excitement of the book. We build on our first ever conference. So our room was packed with 200 people. That's how much it would fit. We had literally had people in the hallways, and we constructed an entire event on how to deepen relationships in ways that grows a business. And everybody helped each other grow their businesses as we did it. So we had all these givers using the techniques in the book to help each other grow their businesses. It was fantastic. It was electric.
Um, when I listen to you, there is a professor at Wharton University who talked about the giver, the taker, and the matcher. You're familiar with that research, right?
Adam Grant, like if someone's not a fan of Adam Grant, they just don't have a beating heart because he's such a giver himself and he's providing so much insights in the world. I just wish more people were paying attention.
So, where does the philosophy of the taker emerge? How does that happen?
Well, the way Adam and his teams define it is a taker as somebody who's almost like trying to, and I'm flexing a little bit on the strict peer-reviewed research definition, but somebody that's trying to get other people to do their work for them, or at every turn they're trying to win, like take more than they give. And the rough high level definition of a giver is the opposite. It's somebody who gives without any strings attached. It's they're always trying to help other people. Now, there's a way to do those things that are effective and not effective we can get into, but that's the general idea.
Yeah, and then there are the matches. How would you define a matcher?
Almost like every, and I want to use the research definition here, almost like in every situation, it's a tit for tat. In every meeting, every interaction, I'll do this for you if you do that for me. We're only going to do this equal. Almost that person that says like, well, I have to pay for breakfast this time because you paid last time. And not just doing it generically, but they almost have a spreadsheet in their head that everything has to be equal. And it's just not an effective way to live your life.
Yeah, you put boundaries on your opportunities.
Without a doubt. And what the research shows is that a certain subset of the givers are the most successful, and a certain subset of the givers are the least successful. And it's the way that they give that actually put them at the top of the heap.
So, give me two or three quick giver examples on how they succeed through relationships.
Yeah, and let's put a sales angle on this. So
All right.
the general research is just for everybody in the world, but you and I care about business development, selling, and growth, and things like that. So we can give a couple examples there. The one example is the business developer that has a system around giving bite-sized pieces away of their expertise or their solution, and they systematize it, and they can say add 8 hours of value in a 2 hour meeting, but they do it over and over again. They abide by this strategic giver kind of idea. They're giving away, there's no strings attached, but they're doing it in a way that the expected value of is that someone most times, a vast majority of times, is going to buy from them. So that's a simple example that's more of a hireable example if we put air quotes around that. A more humanistic example is giving when somebody needs it and they have nothing to buy. So let's say somebody is a high flyer, they get caught up in a merger, they get laid off, literally have no budget, they do not even have a job. Well, that might be a moment that we say, I'm going to help this person, not only because it's the right thing to do, but also expected value. If we do help them, they're a high flyer, they're an A+ player, they're likely to land somewhere. And guess who's going to remember for you forever? The person that helps you when you're down and when you're not just an economic purse string or pocketbook for them. So we can either help in hireable ways or we can help in human ways, but it's the folks who help the most. They help with no expectation of anything in return, but they help in ways that they would, over the long haul, expect to get a lot out of it. Those are the folks that we see climb to the top.
Yeah, because it creates a special bond. It reminds me of a story that Dr. Wayne Dyer told me when I interviewed him. He says when he pitched his book, Your Erroneous Zones, to the publisher in New York City, they went out to lunch. And during lunch, he noticed that that editor had gone through a difficult day already, and he was just listening. And he sort of unraveled and let him talk for 2 hours. And he says, I didn't pitch my book. I was trying to help him see that there is an opportunity in every difficulty. And and at the end of the lunch, he says, I'm taking a book on. I'm going to promote it, and I want to make it a bestseller. So he didn't have to sell. He created that special bond. And I think that there's so many opportunities where you put business aside and you don't talk about sales, you talk about the person. And my grandmother always says, everybody is looking for an ear to whisper into. And you want to be that ear. And Dr. Lyman Style, who wrote a book on listening, he says we actually need to improve our ear cue instead of the IQ.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Don't you think, Gerhard? Like, if we could write a book on business development or selling and it just had all things that our grandmother taught us, like it would probably be the best business development book ever. I love that. It's so true, though.
Yeah. So, what are some of your heroes on the world scene, present or past, that you can remember that really created a good life for themselves and for everybody else by being givers?
Oh, man. Um, I think there's some people that I know that like the names won't matter because they're just people that I know. But folks who really do a good job of doing three things: prioritizing who they're going to invest in. I think a lot of us realize that relationships are important, but few people think about or get taught how to invest in them. And thing number one is knowing who your most important relationships are. That's one of the most beloved aspects I'm hearing people talk about Give to Grow as they read is like, oh, wow, this gave me a system for prioritizing my best relationships. The second of the three things I'd mention is people who do that consistently. It's almost like dollar cost averaging is the best way to make money in the stock market. You just keep, you don't worry about the highs and lows. You disconnect yourself from whatever today's New York Stock Exchange looks like or NASDAQ or anything like that. You just keep investing. And if you do that consistently over time, you end up doing really well. Same thing with the relationships. It's people that just disconnect themselves from, am I feeling good today or not? Did I catch and have I talked with that person in a long time or not? Did I see him last week or not? They just keep investing in the right people. So number one's the right people. Number two is investing consistently. And the third thing I really admire is people that invest in ways that are, like we talked about before, that aren't just businessy focused, but that are helping someone as a human being as well. Being able to lend that ear, like your grandma taught us both at this point, or being able to go into a meeting, read the room and say, you know what, I had brought a bunch of materials to talk about me, but I think this person just needs somebody to listen to for a while, like the example you gave. And being able to just invest in people, not only in ways that result in business, but help them just emotionally, whatever they're dealing with. So
Yeah.
know who you're for, do it consistently, and do it in the way that they could use the help in that moment. People that do that over and over again, they just end up with a relationship advantage that you can't, they just win more and win more often.
Right. Is there also a spiritual dimension to giving?
This is super interesting. This has actually happened. I've so enjoyed our conversations because we've now had several, and some new information came about since the last time we talked. We're doing a bunch of measurable market research around Give to Grow and the book. And it's, as you know, it started as just a top 10 business book bestseller, and it's actually been, it's stayed that way since launch. And one of the markets it's doing really well in is people that are very religious or spiritual. It's not a religious or spiritual book by in any means, in the sense that it talks about those things. But what our editor thinks and publisher at Bard Press Todd, he thinks that this Give to Grow gives people a system for giving for people that already believe giving is good. And a lot of folks that are quite religious or spiritual are picking up the book. And I think that's interesting for us from just an awareness and marketing perspective, is we might double down in communities like that. It's great for salespeople. It's great for account execs. It's great for business developers. But it's interesting, the folks who have a religious sort of bent already, or just believe that helping others is a good thing in general, they're loving the book even more.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially on the West Coast, that believe in karma.
Yeah.
And what goes around comes around. So I think that, to me, your book is an investment in humanity, where you bring out the best in people. And when you open your heart and give generously, then it will make you not only feel good, but you will have made a deposit that will earn interest, and the interest is meaning. To me, it's giving is meaningful.
I love that. And to pick up on your word deposit, I think that was brilliant. Is one thing that I think people don't understand about relationships is how fast they pay off. So it's the right thing to do. This can get us up in the morning, helping others, all the things you're talking about. And it not only helps the person that we're helping, especially when we're a strategic giver in the way that we've talked about, but the real reason that it grows so fast for us, it comes back around, is because, unlike the stock market, where dollar cost averaging pays off over time, compounding interest, all that stuff, unlike that, people talk to each other. So when
Yeah,
we help Jane, and then we help Philippe, and then we help Samuel, and then we help Bill, well, they all end up talking. The more people you help, the more people talk to each other, and the faster your sort of ability to become a trusted advisor grows. So investing in people is the one thing in life that gives you a compound return for each person you invest in. But because they talk to each other, there's a network effect that happens, which is also exponential growth.
yeah,
And you get exponential growth stacked on top of exponential growth.
right.
And it just, the ability to impact the world actually speeds up
Yeah.
massively over time.
I think there's another dimension, which is happiness. And Dr. Marty Seligman wrote about in his book about his research, that, all this positive psychology is all related to giving.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in the body of research around giving, around gratitude, around being hopeful and optimistic. All these things are in a big soup that motivate us. And
Yeah.
makes me think of the Teresa Mobley research that talks about the progress principle, where as we make incremental progress, we're not only happier, but more successful too. All these things are, I think, intertwined. When we give, it unlocks all kinds of great things, not only for us, but for others. And
Right,
it's an intrinsic motivator. We do
right.
not need a carrot at the end of it.
And I think that brings me to another sort of imagery, which is giving is helping people change. Because when people are confronted with change, it's like a wave that can crush them. Um, you have really three opportunities here. One is you get crushed. The second is you learn how to surf the wave, and
Yeah,
the third is you be the wave. You can become the wave that rises and creates its own momentum, forward momentum.
I like that. I like that. Be the wave. And, as I've gotten to know you, I know one of the things that you believe around selling and business development and growth is that really people that do well at those roles are just creating positive change.
Yes.
Everybody's better off
Yeah.
because they had the guts to reach out when other people didn't, because the client bought something from them and now they can help them even more. That the internal teams win, the external team wins. If there's an external partner, third party, they win. And at the end of the day, if we can be positive agents of change, if we can be the wave, like you talked about, that ends up driving economic growth.
Think about the wave as an idea, a very powerful idea that is unstoppable. And to me, your book is unstoppable. You cannot say, this is a bad book. This is a book that makes everybody better, and especially salespeople. So let's take some action steps here. What can people do besides reading your book to integrate that as a corporate strategy that drives revenues?
Yeah, a couple things. Um, One is getting everybody on the same page. Like this is the philosophy, and these are the steps that do it. Obviously, buying the book and giving it to teams and walking through it. We even have a team launch guide that's no charge, that's mentioned in the book, that people can get. The other thing that I think that even beyond that, that people can do is figure out, in a little stepwise process here, figure out the growth that they want to drive. Instead of spreading it like peanut butter and everybody say, everybody grow X%, if there's actually disproportionate solution that's really powerful, maybe it's high leverage. If people buy this, they buy a lot of other things. Maybe it's a new growth market that we just think we can grow faster. But by picking the area that we really want to grow, start with that. And then work backwards from that and say, what could we give away? What could we give away that there would be no charge? It's easy to say yes to. And if we think that with certainty, like 80 or 90% of the people that would receive that gift, that they would buy the big thing. So examples of that: a couple-hour workshop, a data analysis, introduction to groups of others, whiteboarding or brainstorming sessions with experts from our team, strategies put in place. There's lots of examples of these little bite-sized gifts that we can give our prospects and our clients and our customers. So if we can, A, figure out what business do we want to drive, and then B, pull back from that and say, what gift can we give away that would very likely lead to them wanting to purchase that thing? It's ridiculously powerful. And most people don't do that. They just figure out the big thing and then go, let's go sell it. Well, that's really risky for somebody to go buy something that they haven't bought before. So how can we pull back and actually start with a gift, but systematize it and then lead with the gift?
And I think that paying attention to people is also a gift. Being there for them and sharing your best ideas and best practices with people that you interact with. There's one more thing I'd like to mention to the audience. Mo is going to deliver a keynote at our Sales Training and Enablement Summit on December 3rd and 4th. And there will be a link below the video where you can sign up. And I want you to reach out to Mo, not just go to Amazon and get his book, but he has a ton of amazing services. So what is your website?
Yeah, it's a little long. Maybe we should put it down in the show notes. But
Yes.
it's Bunnell Idea Group, but there's 2 N's and 2 L's, and we'll put it down in the show notes. But Bunnell Idea Group's the way to go. The other thing though that's easy to remember, and we can put this down there too, or in the links below, not show notes, is givetogrow.info. That actually has a free training course around the book that stands alone. People can sign up for that. They don't even have to buy the book. So givetogrow.info is a little bit easier to spell and remember.
Well, thank you for taking the time, Mo. This is a very special day because it's election day in the United States. So if you're tuning in from other countries, you probably are very interested in the outcome. But I can confidently say that tomorrow morning, the sun will come up again, and tomorrow will be a great opportunity to give to this world and not expect too much in return. And if everybody would follow Mo's prescription, Give to Grow, I think we all gonna have a wonderful economy and a happier life.
Yeah, I think you're right, Garrett. I know you believe it. I believe it too. And I firmly believe this line in the book, everybody's just loved. It's always our move, and it's always a chance to be helpful. And if we remember that, where we just act more, we'll offer help more often, and we'll grow more.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Go and click on the link below. Thank you, Mo.